and I'm standing here with the new power plant that's going into Project El Diablo. That's our 1984 C10 pickup truck project that we've been putting together for the magazine. On the last video, you saw us kind of introduce the project and also take it down to Alden American, where they installed some new coilovers on that thing. It was awesome. If you haven't seen that video, go back and check it out. You'll also get a kind of an in-depth look at the truck. When we started talking about that, you guys saw it has a rather anemic 305 in that thing. So we gotta put something in there that's gonna make it a lot faster and a lot more fun to drive. I picked up this LM7, I think, for about $100 off of Craigslist. I got lucky. All right, that's all I can say. I just got lucky. I was in the right place at the right time, and I picked it up for $100. No lie.
Well, finally got a LS for the C10 project. If you guys aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, check out my page. It's 84 C10 short bed step side. Pretty cool little truck. It's got a 305 that's kind of clapped out though. So picked up this equally clapped out LS. As you can see, the block is 4.8 or a 5.3. So we know it probably came out of a truck. And it's a Gen 3 because we don't have the sensors right here on the timing cover. But yeah, we're gonna get this thing cleaned up. Man, this thing cleaned up pretty good. And I'm super stoked to finally have this thing on the stand because I've compiled all the parts I'm gonna need to put it into the C10. So I guess I'm just gonna take this thing apart and paint the block. Yeah, this stuff looks pretty gunky, but I mean, so did the other side before I cleaned it. So I'm gonna pull the valley cover off and the balancer pulley and the timing cover and prep the block for paint. I'm gonna mask everything off. So last time I left off with the LS, I was trying to get this crank pulley bolt out, and my crappy breaker bar broke. So I went and got a new one, busted it loose. So I'll get the puller on here and take the pulley off. I'll do the cam swap tonight, but first I'm gonna paint the block. I gotta finish prepping it and stuff. You can't go wrong with Chevy orange. Man, I'm pretty impressed. 1 can of this Engine Pro engine enamel did 3 coats on this whole thing.
When I had this thing all apart, I just wanted to stab the new comp cam. That's an NSR cam, part of their No Springs Required series, where you can use the stock valve springs. I wanted to just stab that thing in here because that's kind of how that cam is meant to be installed, right? It's for the enthusiast who doesn't want to rebuild the heads, who doesn't want to take the heads off and replace the valve springs and do all that. You can literally just take the timing cover off, run a couple dowels in there, hold your lifters up, and replace the cam that way with the engine in your project, in most projects anyways. We, however, did replace the springs in these things with a set of LS6 valve springs from Comp Cams. I got one cylinder head done with new valve springs. Ended up not needing new valves after all. In fact, when I took the cylinder heads down to get those bolts taken out at the local machine shop, the guy was really cool. He got them out in like 15 minutes, and he told me, you know what, man, I'm charging you a lot. Let me put these things in the wash tank and let me pressure test the valves. So he did, and turns out all the valves were good. They were just dirty. So I swapped out the springs. Because we don't know what we're going to do in the future. We might slap a turbo on this thing. Who knows? We might want to spin it a lot more aggressively. In any case, whenever I took the whole thing apart, I pulled the factory cam out. The cam looked good, but the cam bearing in the #1 position was a little rough. Today is a good opportunity for us to tear this thing down and show you guys replacing the cam bearings. So hopefully without removing the rotating assembly, because I know a lot of you guys at home are like me. You don't want to have to, take out the crankshaft and the pistons and the rods and everything just to replace those cam bearings. So I think if we pull these heads off, flip the engine over, I might be able to get those cam bearings out with the cam bearing tool that I ordered, and hopefully get the new ones in without removing the rotating assembly. So without further ado, I guess let's get into it. Okay, so one of the things I should tell you guys is when I replaced the cam, you can see that nice new comp cam. I'll pull it out here for you guys in a second. But whenever I replaced it originally, one of these bolts on the cam plate sheared off, man. The head just sheared off. I don't know if the thing was made out of plastic or what, but I was taking it out, not with an impact actually, and just sheared the head right off. So I was freaking out. Luckily, there was a little nub left over that I could get out. But interesting fact, Comp saved my butt because they sent me that locking cam gear cover plate, and it came with extra bolts. So I was able to use one of the old cam gear bolts to replace that one because I didn't know where I was going to find another one of those. Smaller. So if you guys are ever in a pinch and you need one of those, the cam gear bolt will work. So now I'm a little gun shy. I don't want to break any of these. Also, for those of you who don't know, which is probably like nobody, your water pump bolts can be used as a handle to get your cam out. And that's what we're going to do right now. You guys get a nice shot of this beautiful comp cam coming out of here. Try and be nice to it. Although I guess it doesn't matter right now because we got to replace those cam bearings anyways. Easy now. See, like we're getting some. Oh, you can see. I guess maybe that front one wasn't the only one that's kind of destroyed. I'm gonna have to wipe this cam down. And there we go. Oh yeah, lots of little chips and stuff. Give you guys a shot. Here. Isn't that a beaut? Comp NSR cam. I'll drop the link to this actual cam. I don't know if you guys can see in there, but oh yeah, look at that. Holy crap. Let's see what the other ones look like, huh? Let's flip this bad boy over. It's gonna leak, but it's okay. Okay, so we're gonna try this. Like I said, I ordered this LS specific cam bearing removal tool and installation tool off of Amazon or somewhere. Actually, you know what? I think I got this from Summit. So basically, you have this piece that fits here in the cam bearing. This first one, you just whack it out like that.
but all the subsequent ones, all the subsequent bearings, you're going to have to, you have this other piece that fits into the other journal, and then just, and it kind of gives you 2 points of contact so this thing's not wobbling all around. So let's knock this first one out and see if we can get it out through the bottom. Okay. I can already tell it's going to be a bit of a pain trying to get this stuff. Oh, I see what's happened. There we go. Okay. So there we go. And now try and fish this bad boy out through the top. Ah, it will. It will fit through the top. Have to get our magnet and the flashlight and make it work. Can you guys see this? Yeah, you guys can see the top. So you just reach down through here and fish it out. Maybe we'll be able to get it out. There we go. Boom. So, just so I make sure you guys can see. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, some things have changed. Got the engine off of the stand and onto this janky hoist with some chain just holding it, so I don't want to keep it here for too long, honestly. I think that chain and these bolts will be fine, but still, this is kind of like a precarious setup I have going on, and so it's I'm not super comfortable with it. But at least we got the flex plate off, and now I can take off this rear cover, knock out the 5th bearing, and start installing the new ones. So yeah, I guess I'll do that now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, after running around all day long trying to get the right cam bearings, after knocking these things out, we got the new cam bearings, and we're going to knock them in now before it gets really late. The main thing to remember is the cam bearings in the 1 and the 5 position, this being the 5 position, the other end being the 1 position, are the same size. The cam bearings in the 2 and the 4 position are another size, and the cam bearing in the 3 position is its own size. So whenever you put the new ones in, it's important to note that. The new cam bearing is for the number 4 position. It's actually smaller than what was in there for the 5 position, so it'll fit through, and I can just push it through with the tool, which is nice. And I wish I could show you guys this whole process of lining this up, but unfortunately my camera skills are not so great, at least not with this setup. So, but what I will try to do is give you guys a different angle. Okay, so there's a hole in the journal right here on the side, and I have to line up this hole right here. There we go. This hole right here with that hole in the cam journal. So we'll go like that. Try and line it up with the corresponding hole and whack it in there. So now we can put the cam in after I wipe it down and clean it up, because I still have like flecks of material on it from when I originally put the cam in. Okay, found some paper towels. Give our cam a little wipe down. Okay, so now that we've got it pretty much clean, except for some dog hair, let's go ahead and lube this bad boy up, stick her in, and get the show on the road. You can run these cams without replacing the valve springs, hence the no springs required nomenclature. Basically this cam is not aggressive enough that it's going to hurt anything if you don't replace those springs. for us, we did, as I mentioned previously in this video, we went ahead and went with some LS6 valve springs. So those will give us a little bit of insurance, just in the event that we do end up doing something more aggressive with this engine, like I don't know, putting a turbo on it, or something like that. We definitely don't want that in our engine, huh? That's why you don't buy cheap. Gloves, huh? Okay. Okay, ladies and gentle dudes, got my garage helpers here with me. Hello, Melina. Hello, Kendall. So we're gonna pick up where we left off last night. Let's get the cam plate on, and then the cam gear, and I'll tell you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, so cam plate is right here. First, let's set our fancy pants digital torque wrench to 18 foot-pounds, because that's what it calls for. And get this thing in. Here is where we cover the dot to dot. When you're talking about, there are different cam gears. They have different shapes depending on what generation LS engine you have. And yeah, there are just some different plates. And there's photos of those out there that you can look up. But basically, there's a little indicator, a dot, if you will, that you line up with the dot on the crank. And if you line those up, this should be at the 6 o'clock position. The crank should be at the 12 o'clock position, and that's how you know you're good to go. And the engine is at top dead center. So we just check, make sure before we lock anything in. So I can see the cam, or the crank dot is at, it's a little off, so I'm gonna rotate it just slightly. Now is the tricky part, because you have to get the cam chain, or the chain kind of on here perfectly, which can be a bit of a challenge. Now this is the locking plate that I was talking about. Got our bolts. There's some anti-seize on them, and so you don't have to worry about this thing walking out on you like your long lost love. That was kind of dark, huh?
Don't bum the people out.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody. There you go. We've effectively got our cam installed, ladies and gentlemen, with the gears and everything. So now we can put our lifters back in, push rods, well, lifters, cylinder heads, push rods, rockers, etc. Okay, so I was trying to look at my phone for the information, and I don't have a book, so it's kind of a pain in the butt. I'm just going to torque these down off camera, and then yeah. But the sequence goes 22 foot-pounds on all these first, and then you do 22 foot-pounds on these 5 up here, and then you angle these. So there you go. Okay, so we got the cylinder heads all torqued down. No big deal there. But now we get to install a really cool piece, and that's the low shock technology rocker arms that are all connected. So you'll see what I'm talking about right now. They're very cool. First, push rods, man. Let's drop some brand spanking new push rods down in here. And the part number for these from Comp is 7639-16. Push rod set 5/16 Magnum 7.450. So they're already kind of lubed, but I'm still gonna just dunk these in oil before I put them in. Because why not? But let me quit jabbering and show you guys the piece de resistance. And that is these shaft-driven low shock technology rockers from Comp Cams. Holy crap, man, these things are awesome. Let me get these out of the package. Killer, man, killer. Okay, I can see these are already gonna be a handful. They're just like super slick, spinning around on these things. So there we go. Okay, how cool is this, man? Oh, killer, 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 killer. All right. Look at that, man. Roll the shaft. So if you guys are more interested in learning exactly how these things make more power over, like just the factory rockers, stamp steel rockers, and these LS, go over to enginelabs.com and check out the article series that my buddy Greg Acosta did. He's the editor of Engine Labs, and he worked with Jeff Smith, former editor of Hot Rod Magazine, and Billy Godbold over at Comp Cams. Super smart, like astrophysicist engineer, who worked to create this system. I think there were some other people involved, and I feel bad if I left your name out, but definitely go check out that series. It really dives deep into the science behind the efficiency that this creates, and just it's proven to make more power. So don't take my word for it. Okay. So there you go. Now I'm just kind of going through the process of snugging these down. I'll do the other side too, and then we'll look up what the torque spec is for these. Okay. Do the same thing for the other side. Okay, everyone. Here, let me move the camera back a little bit. You can see I got a little red here in the back. Basically, I've gotten as far as I'm gonna get here at home. This thing's pretty dang close. So, ran into an issue with the power steering pump. I gotta get the pulley off, but I don't have a large enough Allen socket to get it off. So I'm sure Carson will over at his house, and I'm running out of daylight. So I'm gonna load this thing in the back of the truck and take it over to him and let him do his thing as far as stabbing it in that little guy. But yeah. So there's El Diablo ready to go get her heart transplant. But first, let's check out what's actually in here. Little 305, and like I said in my last video when we went over to Alden, this thing's good, man. It's good. It's not perfect, but it's probably like a 40-year-old 305, so it's as good as it's gonna be, I suppose, or as good as it's gonna be for me, because we got that going into it. So you can see, got a truck bed full of parts, and I'm about to run over to my buddy Carson's house, but first, I gotta pick up all my toys. So I'll see you guys on the road.